You ever have someone push you so far that you stop caring about playing nice? That's exactly what happened when 6 grown women cornered my teenage daughter in a public market to lecture her about how she should be a good sister to the children my dead ex-husband had with his affair partner. By the end of the week, I had every member of their church whispering about them in disgust, and my ex-in-laws packing their bags in shame. If you've ever wished you could serve justice, so cold it freezes the air in the room, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle in, because this is one of the most jaw-dropping revenge stories you'll hear all week. My name's Anna, I'm 46, and for the past year my life has been a storm I didn't ask for. When my ex-husband died, suddenly in an accident, it should have been tragic. But the reality? The man had been cheating on me for years, and 2 sons had been born from his affair partner. She died too, so those boys were left orphans. Now here's where it gets messy. My ex's parents, 2 elderly people in their late 70s, decided not only did they want custody of my daughters, but also that they should move in with me. As if nothing had happened. The first part, they took me to court. The second part, over my dead body. My daughters, 17 and 15, are still processing the betrayal. They're in therapy. They have boundaries my ex-in-laws hate. There's this weekend market in our town. Think fresh bread, farmer's eggs, fruit that still smells like sunshine. That weekend was special because it was my youngest birthday. We weren't doing her party until later in the month, so I gave her a little budget and said, "Go wild. Get whatever makes you happy." She was gone an hour. I was just starting to think maybe she was stuck in a long line when my phone rang. Her voice was trembling. "Mom, some weird people have cornered me." My blood went cold. I grabbed my oldest and we ran. What I saw made my stomach turn. 6 older women, all surrounding my baby, leaning in, wagging fingers, scolding her like she was some kind of criminal. They were calling her unchristian for not spending time with her grandparents, saying she should be a good big sister to the poor orphaned baby brothers. Let's be clear, my daughters are the ones who discovered their dad's cheating. They don't owe anyone anything. And these women knew exactly what they were doing, shaming a teenage girl in public. I didn't walk. I marched. I slid right between my daughter and the pack of vultures. I told my oldest, "Go pay for your sister's things and get to the car." One of the women sneered, "You're worse than she is refusing to obey your in-laws like a good Christian wife." I actually laughed, that dark, humorless kind of laugh you do when you're holding back an explosion. I said, "I'm not a wife anymore, and you have no right to speak to my daughter." They started raising their voices. People stared. The market manager eventually came over and asked all of us to leave. Fine. But these women weren't done. They followed me to my car, still running their mouths, until I shut the door and drove away. That night, after my girls went to bed, I messaged a friend from that church. I told him what happened. He apologized, then dropped a bomb. My ex-mother-in-law had posted this huge sob story in the church's Facebook group, painting my daughters and me as cold-hearted monsters leaving her and her husband homeless and penniless. Reality check, they inherited my ex's personal bank account and his life insurance. They were fine. She also claimed we were the reason she lost her grandsons. And the kicker, she told everyone the affair partner was our surrogate and that I didn't want the babies because they were boys. If my blood wasn't boiling before, it was now lava. Here's the thing about that church. They're strict on cheating. No exceptions. My ex's parents knew this, so they lied to protect their saintly image, but I had the truth. Since my divorce wasn't finalized when my ex died, I still had all the legal freedom to share the evidence. And oh, I had evidence. The next day, I took a personal day off work and went to the print shop. I printed everything in crisp, high-quality color. Photos of my ex with his mistress in our living room, text messages between them, texts with his parents acknowledging the affair and supporting it, screenshots of my ex-in-laws harassing me during the divorce. And the most damning of all, messages where they called my daughters bastards and said they were to blame for their father's death just 2 days after he died. I paid extra to make the colors pop. Then I went home and spent hours creating binders, little hymn book-style packets that looked just like the ones the church hands out for singing. The cover, totally innocent. The first page inside, a full-page photo of my ex and his mistress kissing, faces clear as day with the caption, ex's name and mistress's name, a love story. Sunday morning, I walked into that church like I belonged there. I went straight to the back table where they keep the hymnals and slid my little special editions right in. I didn't stay for the service. I didn't have to. By Monday, the church's gossip mill was running hotter than a summer grill. People were furious. The Facebook group turned into a war zone. The insults hurled at my ex and his mistress were so bad, the pastor had to step in to keep it family-friendly. The cherry on top, my ex-in-laws got dragged for bullying my daughters. And while some members still thought I was wrong for divorcing, even they admitted they understood given the shock of betrayal. 2 letters arrived in the mail, heartfelt apologies to my daughters, plus an invitation to return to the light and join the church for support. I tossed them straight in the recycling. As for my ex-in-laws, they were shamed so hard, they left the church entirely. My ex-mother-in-law posted some pity-party nonsense on Facebook about being abandoned in her old age. I didn't even bother responding. Standing there in my kitchen, flipping through one of those binders before I tossed it, I realized this wasn't just about revenge. It was about taking back the narrative. They tried to turn my daughters into villains. Instead, I handed the truth to their entire support network, wrapped in a neat little church-appropriate package. And watching them slink away in disgrace, that was the sweetest hymn I've ever heard. Sometimes people think they can rewrite your story, but when you have the receipts, you can make sure the truth sings louder than their lies. If this story made you cheer even a little, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the best revenge you've ever seen? And don't forget to subscribe, because I have even more stories where the bad guys get exactly what they deserve.